All right, so I have a question to ask. How many of you are still not turning your heat on? I knew there'd be some. It's a Yankee thing, right? Yes. How long can I go without turning my heat on? I was just curious because the last couple of mornings, oh, my heat's on. Long time. Yeah. Yeah. Um, October 1st. It just go November 1st? Doesn't matter. 6 inches of snow, it's still November 1st. Got it. Okay. Okay. Yes, it was very cold this morning. So, you know, so it's good to have the heat a little. I'll just wait. I lost the group. I lost the group. All right. So it's good to keep your heat down at night when you sleep. It helps you sleep a little bit better. It's better for your nose. With the heat dries out your nose. So anybody been having headaches or kind of that congested feeling or pressure in the face or anything like that? That will often happen when your heat first goes on. You're gonna get that temperature difference. So guess what you can do for that? The neti pot. Yes. Absolutely. Yes, it's very helpful for that. And so a neti pot, it looks like a little Aladdin's lamp, right? And you put water, warm water, and salt in it, special salt. So you can buy the packets at the drugstore, you can buy a sea salt, and then you shake that up. So you dissolve the salt a little bit, and then you lean over your sink, and you put the little spout in one nostril, and you let it run out the other nostril. So it irrigates your nasal passages. Contrary to what some people think, it does not irrigate your sinuses. Okay, so this does not go into your sinuses. It just goes, you got the right nostril and the left nostril, and there's a septum up there, so there's a little connection between the two. So what the neti pot does is it rinses that part. It doesn't get into your sinuses, which are here. That would be a bad thing if it got in there. So it rinses that out, and part of why it's helpful is it cleans all the cilia in your nose. Those are all the little tiny hairs that filter things out, so it kind of flushes that so that the cilia can do their job again. And it also helps to unclog. So if you got a little bit of a clog here, this whole business up here is a big mess of plumbing. Okay? So your ears, your throat, your nose, your sinuses, it's all connected. So if you're plugged up here in your nasal passages, that's going to impact your sinuses. It can impact your ears. So if you've got some hearing issues, you might want to think about using a neti pot. It could be partially from that. So when you can unblock that, that's going to help everything drain a little bit better. I use mine twice a day in the fall and in the spring. But generally once a day. Brush my teeth in the morning, use my neti pot, and off, ready to go, ready to go. Yep. All right. Good. I never miss an opportunity to plug the neti pot. It's a yogic practice. So it's something that goes back to when they were practicing yoga and they didn't have pots, they actually used to take the water in their hand and snort it in and then snort it out. Yeah. So that can get into your sinuses. So I don't recommend that for people. I think we have the technology now to use the pot. It's a little more safe to do that. And that is very helpful for the yogic breathing that we do, right? So breathing in and out through the nose, that's a yogic practice. Part of that is, again, because the air gets filtered and it gets warmed to the right temperature for your lungs so that your lungs aren't like shocked by this cold air or by this too hot air. The other thing nose breathing does is it works on your nervous system in a good way. So it keeps your sympathetic nervous system, that's that fight or flight energy, it keeps that low. So anybody have the experience of being in kind of a tough situation, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling nervous, do some breathing, in and out through your nose, a few rounds of breath, and everything calms down. And that's why, because this stimulates that parasympathetic response. It stimulates it tones your nervous system. Let's put it that way. It tones your nervous system so that, oh, okay, this is fine. I can handle this. This is not a big deal. What's that? Every day. Yep. Once or twice every day. Yep, exactly. Yeah. All right. All right. So I didn't bring neti pots, so we won't be doing that part of the program today. But we will be doing some breathing. So if you want to sit up nice and close to the front edge of your chair and have your feet on the floor, you can have shoes on or off, you can have socks on or off. And then just kind of notice the contact of your feet on the floor. Can you feel the bottoms of your little toes? Can you feel the bottoms of your heels, kind of where they're on the floor? And can you feel a slight rise in the arch of your foot? If you can't feel a slight rise in the arch of your foot, see if you can kind of pull your big toe back toward your heel a little bit. It's a very small movement. Now, if you're in shoes, I will say this, especially a shoe with an arch support in it, you're not going to be able to feel space in your arch because you've got the shoe that is kind of pushing into that. Notice where your hands are. Are they relaxed? Are they comfortable? And notice where your shoulders are in relationship to your hips. Are you kind of sitting forward? Are you kind of rounding your shoulders? Can you have your shoulders back and down? Have your shoulders right over your hips, and then let your neck and head be relaxed and close your eyes. And then check in with your breathing. So just notice the way that you're breathing this morning. Are you comfortable breathing in and out through your nose? And does the breath move smoothly in and out? Or is there a little hitch or a little interruption in the inhalation and exhalation? Is there a difference in the right nostril versus the left nostril? Maybe one side is a little more open than the other. And as you're breathing in and out naturally, your normal breath, can you feel movement in your body? So do you feel your rib cage or your belly expanding and contracting? So this is just the noticing part of the breath. And now begin to consciously alter the breathing so that as you inhale, you feel your belly expand. So you might want to lengthen the inhalations a little bit. And as you exhale, feel a gentle contraction in the belly. So inhaling and the belly expands, exhaling as the belly contracts. And as you continue to breathe in and out, feeling that expansion and contraction in your belly, see if you can also feel an expansion and contraction in your rib cage. So breathing in, the belly and the rib cage expand. Breathing out, the belly and rib cage contract. And you may feel this in the sides of the ribs or the front of the ribs. You may even feel it in the back of the ribs. Breathing in, the belly and rib cage expand. Breathing out, the belly and rib cage contract. Just 2 more of these nice full deep breaths in and out. Breathing in, the belly and rib cage expand. Breathing out, belly, rib cage contract. And then go back to your natural breath. Take a nice full deep breath and let it out with a sigh. Let your eyes gently open and resume your natural breath. And then just turn your head gently from side to side. So when we're doing the deep breathing, I often cue the belly and the rib cage because those are the places where we feel movement. And you actually have a little bit of movement in the neck as well when you're breathing. Next time your head is back to center, let's kind of stop here for a moment and then just drop your right ear to your right shoulder and then come up and over to the left. So we're just kind of going back and forth a little bit, nice and slow, especially if you tend toward a little bit of dizziness, a little bit of unsteadiness. If you go nice and slow, we're just trying to feel. Next time you get the right ear on the right shoulder, just kind of hang out here and notice what you feel on the left side of your neck. Take your left hand and let it just kind of fall off the lap, let it hang down by the chair. Take your right hand over to the top of that left shoulder and just push down a little bit. So you're pushing that shoulder down. See if you can get your ear on that right shoulder a little bit more. So the right ear is going toward the right shoulder, getting a stretch through that left side. Nice, slow, deep breaths in and out. And then you can release your right hand, take your left hand back to your lap, bring your head back up, stay here for a moment and notice if the left side of your neck feels longer than the right side of your neck. And then we'll go over to the left. So left ear on the left shoulder, right hand comes off the chair, left hand over to that shoulder top and just kind of pull down. And see if you can get that left ear a little closer to the left shoulder. So we're just stretching through the right side of the neck, breathing in, breathing out. Notice where you feel movement as you inhale and exhale with your body in this position. One more nice full deep breath in and out. Now release your hands. Bring your head back up. Pause for a moment and hopefully you feel a little more balanced now in the length of your shoulders. So let's roll the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Listen for any noise in there. So shoulders can be pretty noisy. You got a lot of tendons that cross over the bones of your shoulders, the bones in the back of your body. And then roll forward a little bit. So this might feel a little less natural to roll forward for some of us. For some of us, it feels more natural to roll forward. And then roll just your right shoulder forward. And roll it backwards. Good. And relax that and roll your left shoulder forward. And roll that shoulder backwards. Good. And relax that. Now take your arms up overhead. Reach up as high as you can, reach up toward the ceiling, and then bring your arms down, bring your elbows behind you. Squeeze your shoulder blades together without engaging your neck and jaw muscles. And then we're going to breathe in as we push up and breathe out as we pull down. So breathing in, we're pushing. Breathing out, squeeze the shoulder blades together, get the elbows back behind you as much as you can, almost as if you could touch your elbows together back there. And if it's better for you to breathe in when you bring your elbows together, that's okay too. So whatever feels okay. So just a couple more of these. We're getting some movement, natural movement in the shoulders. So our shoulders are able to do this movement unless we haven't done it for a long time and we've lost that ability. And the next time that you have your arms down, we're just going to relax here for a minute. So keeping the hands forward. We're going to extend the arms out like a saguaro cactus, right? So they get the sort of 90-degree position. And then we're going to bring the elbows together in the front and then go behind you and squeeze your shoulder blades. So coming forward and backward. And you might want to breathe out as you bring your elbows together and breathe in as you bring your elbows behind. That just sort of works with the natural movement of the breath in your body, but if the other way feels better for you, you can do that. Good. Okay. Next time we go kind of halfway with those saguaro arms, we're going to stay here and we're going to rotate the arms up and down. Right? Up and down. So we're getting some rotation up in the shoulder joint where the arm bones come into the clavicles. The end of the collarbone is actually way out here. So we're going up and going down. If having the arms up high like this is too much, you can have your arms down a little bit lower. Try to do this without clenching your jaw. Good. All right, and the next time your arms are up, we're just going to hold here and bring the arms out to the sides. Now, turn your palms up. So reaching out like you're holding something in each hand, right? And keep holding something. So look at your palms, make sure they're up. Keep holding your palms up like this, and you're going to bring your elbows right in tight to your body, and then come back out. Good. So breathing in and breathing out, doesn't matter when. So as you bring your arms in, notice what has to happen to your hands. So watch my hands as my arms come in. I get a little more extension in the wrist, right? Because if I didn't, I would spill whatever I had in my hands. So breathing in and breathing out. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, right? So really use your shoulder blade area to squeeze together. Good. 2 more times. These are kind of tough. Good. And then the next time your arms are out to the sides, hold here. Relax your shoulders down away from your ears. Yeah. Whew. All right, so now relaxing your shoulders. We're just going to use the elbows and these upper arm muscles. And we're going to tap the shoulder tops very slowly. And then we're going to come all the way out. Now imagine you've got weights in your hands. You can make a light fist if that helps you kind of figure out those weights. So imagine you've got weights in your hands. The slower you move, the harder this gets. Really engage these muscles here in the upper arms and breathe, right? So we're doing a little bit of resistance training, just using the muscles in the body to create that resistance. So when you bend your elbows to bring your hands to your shoulders, the muscles in the back of the body, if you have them in the back of the arm, if you have them engaged, they're putting on the brakes. So that's acting like a little bit of a weight or resistance training. When you're extending your elbows, so you're straightening your arm, these muscles here are acting as the brake. So it's creating a little bit of resistance. So if you don't have resistance bands at home, you can just use your own muscles, right? Okay, so I know your arms are just about ready to fall off. So next time you bring your hands to your shoulders, hold here. And then slowly lower your elbows, but keep your hands on your shoulders. Good, and then give your shoulders a little massage. And breathe. We just asked a lot of the shoulders, right? I'll say. Okay, relax your arms a little bit here. Let your hands rest on your lap. Close your eyes for a moment. And I just want you to go inside the feeling in your shoulders, your neck, your arms, your upper back, maybe your chest. And just notice what you feel here. You might even feel it down into your elbows, your forearms. Take a breath in, let it out with a sigh, and let your eyes open. Good, and then take your hands off your lap. So we'll relax the shoulders, but we'll work the hands a little bit. So squeezing and extending. And when the weather gets cold, some forms of arthritis can feel a little bit worse. Yeah. That if you have the crackling kind of arthritis, that generally doesn't like the cold. That does better in the warm weather. If you have kind of the hot and inflamed kind of arthritis, the cold weather can actually feel pretty good. So the next time you extend, we're going to hold the hands, hold the fingers out there. Get your little finger and your thumb as far away from each other as they can be on the right hand and the left hand. And notice how big your hands are. Turn your palms so they face you. Have a good look at your hands. Turn them back around a little bit just to kind of get a look at them, right? Okay. And now take your thumbs and your baby fingers together. Keep all the other fingers extended and then extend those. And then take your ring fingers and your thumbs together and then extend. And we'll go to the middle fingers and then the first fingers. And then we'll go back to the middle fingers and the ring and the baby. And we're just going to go kind of up and down the scale a little bit here, right? So you can kind of look at your hands now. The fingers that aren't touching the thumb, you're keeping them really extended, right? Yeah. Good. Okay. And then shake that out. Good. Okay, let's do this. Let's bring the palms together, relaxing your shoulders, using your right hand to push your left hand over as far as it'll go. and then push your right hand over. So try not to move your shoulders and try not to lift your arms like this, right? So we're just pushing at the wrist. So if you look over and you see your elbow up, you want to bring that elbow down. We're just moving at the wrists. There we go. Good. And then circle that around. And reverse the direction, circling around the other way. Okay, now interlace your fingers and circle around. And are you breathing? And circle the other way. Right? Good. And then shake that out a little bit. So some of these little movements, you know, we hold our breath when we're doing it because it's not movement that we're used to. And there's a difference between exercise and movement, right? So exercise is kind of a specific, I'm going to bend my elbow using a weight and I'm going to work on this muscle. Movement is about moving your parts. It's moving all your parts, and all your parts include your fingers and your wrists and your thumbs and your neck and even your tongue. We've done exercises with the tongue. So getting movement in all of your parts is as important as working on your biceps muscles or working on your quadriceps muscles. Okay, so let's kind of take the right shoulder and we're going to bring it down and over to the left knee. So you can twist a little bit in your chair, come down as if you could get that shoulder onto the knee, and then come all the way back up. And then we're going to bring the left shoulder all the way down like you could get it onto that right knee, and then come all the way up. So we're just going to go back and forth a few times here. So we're pressing the shoulder forward, twisting the body and leaning forward a little bit, breathing in and breathing out. So we're starting to transfer some of this movement from the hands, the wrists, the shoulders down into the back, right? So all of your parts move in a really nice way here. Good. Couple more of these, going from side to side. Good. Excellent. How about one more on each side, you guys? Breathing in, breathing out. Excellent. And then coming all the way back up. Now take your right arm way up overhead if it'll go. If it won't go way up overhead, bring it as far forward as it'll go. And then we're going to lean into the left side as far as you can without letting your right cheek come up off the chair. And then come all the way up and bring that hand back down to your lap. Left hand up. We're going to lean over to the right. So again, lean as far as you can without letting the opposite hip or buttocks come up off the chair. So breathing in and breathing out. Little bit of a stretch from side to side, right? Little bit of a stretch. Good. Couple more on each side. Excellent. Good. This is a great movement to do before you get out of bed in the morning. Yeah. Get that back kind of woken up a little bit. How about one more on each side? Excellent. And last one, up and over. Good. And all the way. Excellent. Okay, let's just kind of roll the shoulders a couple of times. And then relax, close your eyes, take a moment and just notice your arms and hands, your wrists and elbows, your shoulders, your neck, your back, your chest, your upper body in general. Just notice what your upper body feels like. And notice if it feels like your lower body. Maybe you're not even in your lower body yet. Maybe it just feels like you're all upper body at this point. Take a breath in, let it out with a sigh, let your eyes open. All right, and we're going to shift into the lower body a little bit here. So take your right leg, extend it out, heel on the floor, and start with the toes, squeezing and extending. Remember the movement we did with the fingers where I had you bring your thumbs and your little fingers as far apart as they'll go? I'm going to ask you to take your big toe and your little toe as far apart as they'll go. So hold your foot kind of steady and bring those toes as far apart as they'll go. Now if you're in a shoe, the shoe might actually prevent you from going as far as you can. If you're in a sock, there might be a little bit of tension in the sock that prevents you, but just do the best you can. Good. And then relax that and start to point and flex your foot. So we got some movement here at the ankle, right? So the movement at the ankle, you're actually still working some of the muscles, some of the tendons in your foot, actually. because some of the muscles that control your foot come up across your ankle and into your lower leg. And then circle around. You guys know I love feet, right? Quarter of all your bones and all your muscles are in your feet. That's remarkable. And then go the other way. And the other quarter are in your hands. So that only leaves half for the whole rest of the body. Isn't that wild? And then bring that foot back down, bend the knee, bring the heel in. Let's take the other foot, extend it out. I think we're on the left side now, right? And then we're going to squeeze and extend the toes here. Yeah. Good. So a little bit of movement. And now take your big toe and your little toe as far away from one another as they'll go. Just separate them out. Look down there. Notice if you can get some space in between the toes. A little bit of daylight in there. Good. And then we'll start to point and flex the foot here. So again, just like on the other side, you have a bunch of muscles in your lower leg that actually control your foot. So it's good to exercise this, especially since your ankle doesn't generally get a lot of movement unloaded, meaning it's always bearing some weight when you're going through a range of movement. And circle around at the ankle. That's a nice way to decompress. Yeah, little snapping noises there. Ankles are kind of like shoulders in that way. And then reverse. Good. Okay, and then bring that foot back down. So if you're not sitting right up near the front edge of your chair, I'm going to invite you to do that now. You're going to have your shoulders above your hips. You might even have your hands kind of on either side of your hips. And we're going to do a little bit of work for the knee. So you're just going to bend and extend your right knee. Nice and slow. Bend and extend. So you can tap your foot. If your leg is not quite so strong, you can tap your foot back and tap your foot forward. Or if you want to build a little more strength here in the top of the leg, in the front part of the leg, you can keep that foot lifted. So bending and extending. Now when you extend, squeeze these muscles here. And when you bend, squeeze the muscles in the back of your leg, right? So breathe in, breathe out. Next time you extend, I'm going to ask you to hold and breathe. Press out through your heel and pull your toes toward your shin a little bit more and see if you can lift your foot just a little bit higher. Keep breathing. Okay, now keeping your knee straight, you're going to lower your leg down. Just let your heel gently tap the floor and then lift back up. So breathing in and breathing out, keeping the knee as straight as you can. So if you have a knee issue, this is a really excellent exercise to help strengthen the muscles around the knee, right? So breathe in, breathe out. Go nice and slow. The slower you go, the harder it is. And the harder it is, the more you're going to get out of this. The next time you raise your leg up, hold, breathe, relax your jaw. And then slowly lower that leg all the way down. Good. Bend your knee. Give that thigh a bit of a massage, maybe even up into the hip if that feels like where you're feeling it. You might feel it way up here, like into the crease of your thigh. You might feel it down here closer to your knee or even below your knee. Okay. And then getting oriented again, sitting right up at the front edge of your chair, have your hands alongside you. We're going to work on that left side, so bending and extending the left knee, nice and slow. And again, if you have some issue with the muscles not being so strong in that leg, you can tap your foot. You could even slide your foot if need be. If you can, keep your foot lifted. That's going to give you the most benefit in terms of muscle strengthening here in the thigh. And that's the front of the thigh and the back of the thigh. Front of the thigh, by the way, are your quadriceps muscles. Back of the thigh are your hamstring muscles. There are 4 muscles in the front and 3 in the back. Good. Breathing in, breathing out. Couple more. That looks good, you guys. Don't forget that little squeeze at the end, right? And the next time that you have your leg extended, you're going to hold here and breathe. Good. So really squeeze these muscles. Pull your toes toward your shin a little bit more. And then really slowly, keeping the knees straight, really slowly, you're going to lower the heel down till it just kind of grazes the floor and then lift back up. This should be difficult. This should present a bit of a challenge for your thigh muscles. Breathing in, breathing out. If you're having some difficulty breathing, take a little break. You can let your foot rest on the floor for a moment. Breathe in, breathe out. Keep going. Good. Just a couple more. And how about one last one? Good. Okay, relax that leg. Whew. Give that thigh a little bit of a massage. And again, it can be anywhere from up here in the hip crease, up above the hip line a little bit, down here into the lower part of the thigh, or even into the knee and the lower upper part of the lower leg. All right, so let's scoot over to the right side of the chair a little bit. So you're kind of near that right edge, and just kind of hang on to the left, to the other side of the chair with your left hand. We're just going to take this right leg, and imagine you've got like this little wall here on the outside of your leg. We're just going to lift that foot up off the floor, go out and over the wall, and then bring the foot down. And then we're going to come back. Now watch your upper body. Notice if you're using your upper body to lift your leg, or can you keep your upper body nice and still as you use the muscles in the leg and the thigh to come up and over, right? That's a little bit harder to do. Now we're working some different muscles around the hip and the thigh. Good. And the next time your leg is out to the side, we're just going to hold here. So the foot's on the floor. We're going to let the knee fall in, and then see if you can bring the knee back. So let it fall in and bring it back. And just keep going here. So we're falling in and bringing back. Falling in and bringing back. Good. Okay. And then let your knee come back up, and we're going to make some circles. So again, watching that you're not using your upper body, leaning your upper body in some way. Just going to make some little circles with this leg. Go up and around and place it on the floor. Up and around, place it on the floor. Good. Now, whichever direction you're going in, I'm going to invite you to shift and go the other way. Right? Good. And one way is generally easier than the other. We all have a preference. So maybe I like going forward, maybe you like going backwards. Okay, and then when the foot gets back to the floor, we're just going to go in and out again. So just a really gentle movement here. And you don't have to go to the extreme with that. Okay, and then bring that foot back to the other one. Scoot way over to the left side of your chair. All right, and again, we're going to have like a little wall here on the outside of the left leg, holding on to your chair with your right hand. We're just going to go up over the wall, out and down. And then up and back. Good. So you decide how high that wall is for yourself, right? So maybe with this leg, the wall can be a little higher than it was on the other side. Or maybe with this leg, it's not feeling like it's strong enough to go up over a high wall. So maybe it's a little bit lower wall. So just make sure you go nice and slow, right? So we're not working with momentum. We're actually working with the muscular energy in the body. So the next time that your foot comes out to the side, you can hold it there. Good. And we're just going to let the knee come in and out a little bit. In and out. Good. And notice if this leg rotates differently than the other one. Okay. And now we're going to make some circles. So once again, taking the leg up, around, and down. And you can go forward or backward, whatever is your pleasure, right? So just do a little break in between, right? So you place the foot on the floor with each rotation, right? So with each rotation, we go up and around. Good. And then at some point, you're going to reverse. Go the other way. And once again, you might notice that this hip has a different range available. Quite often the case. And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong, by the way. There doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your hip if it doesn't have the same rotation as the opposite one. How about just one more? Good. And then we'll just do that in and out thing, just a little bit to loosen it up. Yeah, because we're all we're all born with some differences from side to side. And it's a big illusion. All right, so now we're going to go back to the center for a minute. So it's an illusion that we're balanced between left side and right side. And I know there are sometimes people will do these tests and they'll say, oh, well, this leg is longer than that one, or this hip has more rotation than the other one. But maybe that's how you were born. And maybe that has nothing to do with anything. It's just how your body forms. So it's more about your comfort and your ease in your movement and how the discomfort might impact your daily life. So if you have a change in how your hip moves, that might be something to look into, right? So, but if my hip has always moved in this way, that might just be the way that my body works. So scoot over to the right again. We're doing a little bit of musical chairs here. Scoot way over to the right because we're going to take that right foot, heel and toe, and walk the foot way out. So for those of us who are a little bit shorter in the legs, we might have to go a little farther over to the edge of the chair. So you're going to extend this leg so your heel is on the floor and your toes are lifted up, right? And your body might want to go in the same direction as that leg. See if you can bring your body back so that your belly button is in line with your left knee. Okay, so the heel of your right foot is on the floor, the toes are lifted toward your shin. You're going to take your right hand down your right leg, and we're just going to lean into that right side, keeping the left shoulder open. So if you're turning your body, I want you to come back up. We're going to keep that shoulder open. This is about the side of the body coming over. Good. And if you're not sure, if you're like, I don't know if my shoulder is rotating, take your left hand to your shoulder and just kind of pull it back a little bit. That'll give you an idea of where things are at. Good. Everybody able to breathe while you're doing this? Okay. So if you'd like, this is not a requirement at all, but if you'd like a little more effort here, you can raise your left hand up and then bring it back down, right? So we're raising the left hand up as we lean and bringing it back down. So there's no breath holding here, right? So we're not holding the breath. We're breathing easy and smoothly, right? And one more time, up and over. Good. And then bring that right down. Now take that left hand to the chair, and now keeping the leg extended, we're going to point the toes. Now, I'll just say this. Some people are going to get the toes on the floor. Some people are not going to touch the floor with the toes. That is okay. If you're in a shoe, it's likely you're not going to be able to touch your toes to the floor, depending on your shoe. Other people have tightness in the ankle that doesn't allow them to point the foot quite so much. And some of that might not be tightness in the ankle. It might be just the way your bones are constructed. So it's not a requirement to get your toes on the floor, but you're kind of going in that direction. Now, the right shoulder is going to stay open and your spine nice and long, and we're going to lean into the left side. So you can bend your left elbow and lean as you point your toes, right? So you're pointing your right toes and then come back up. So we'll do that a couple more times. So we're leaning into the left side, pointing the right toes and coming back up. Y'all breathing? Okay, so if you want to add a little more challenge to this, the next time that you lean into your left side, you can take your right arm up and over, and then come all the way back. Beautiful. Good. So just make sure you keep that shoulder nice and open. Keep the leg extended, nice and lengthened. One more time, up and over. Excellent. Good, good, good. And then relax that. Now bend your right knee. Use your heel and your toes. Walk that foot in. Come way over to the left side. So we're going to just do a little scoot over there, use your heel and your toes, walk that leg out, extend the leg, heel on the floor, toes are lifted toward the shin. Now your torso is probably trying to go in the same direction as that left leg. I'm going to ask you to bring your torso in line with your right leg. So we're really giving a little bit of a challenge here for this left hip. Okay, so left hand comes down the left leg. I'm going to make sure that right shoulder stays back, right? So we're just going to lean into that left side, breathing in and breathing out. Good. Good, good, good. So try not to let that right shoulder come forward, you guys. There we go. If anybody wants a little more of a challenge, instead of keeping the hand on the shoulder, you Can raise the arm up and over. Just make sure your breath is smooth. If this makes it really hard to breathe, to take a breath, don't raise your arm. That's okay. That just means that your body's not really into doing that this morning, and that's an okay thing. How about 2 more of these? So whatever way you're doing it, with the arm extended or with the hand on the shoulder, doesn't really matter. Good. Excellent. Okay. Now we're going to take that left foot, point the foot so that we've got the toes reaching toward the floor. Again, some people might have the toes on the floor, some people may not have the toes on the floor. And let me say this, it might be different on this side than it is on the other side. That has partly to do with the muscles in your legs. That has partly to do with how your hardscape is arranged, right? Which we don't have a whole lot of influence over how the hardscape goes, right? That's just kind of the foundation. So just kind of notice that. Take your right hand to the chair. Take your left hand to your left shoulder. And we're going to lean into the right side as we bend the right elbow. Good. And keep the toes pointed on that left side and come back up. So this is getting a nice stretch somewhere between your toes and your shoulder, right? Breathing in, breathing out, nice, smooth, steady breath. And the next time that you come over to that right side, if you want more, you can take your arm up and over, getting more of a stretch. If that feels like too much, don't bother with the arm. You can keep the hand on the shoulder. That works just fine. Good. How about a couple more of these? Good. Breathing. Everybody's breathing, yes? Good. How about 1 more, because I lost count. We'll say that's 2. It's probably 5, but we'll say it's 2. And then we'll let that go. Use your heel and your toes. Walk that back around. Come to the front, or to the middle, rather, of your chair. So you're right in front here. Okay, so we're going to take the right ankle on top of the left knee. Now, if right ankle on top of left knee is a no-go for you, you can have ankle on top of ankle. That works just fine. Okay, so sit up nice and tall. Now, if it's hard to sit up nice and tall, here's a little tip. Take your hands and lift your right knee up. So you're trying to lift your knee toward your face a little bit, and then straighten your spine, and then let your leg go and keep your spine straight. And if you'd like, you can even take your hand and press down a little bit on the inside of this leg. And then relax. So if you're crossed here, it's kind of the same thing. You're just going to push down a little bit on the inside of that knee. So the thing I want to avoid is this, right? So I can push my knee down and my back starts to round. What I want to do is start with my knee up here, get my back up nice and tall, and then see what I can do. So let's just breathe as we really gently push down on the knee and then relax the pushing. Whether you're crossed at the ankle or you're crossed at the knee, doesn't matter. Breathing in, breathing out. Good. And 1 more time. Excellent. Now, can you hold your hand here, kind of pressing the knee down a little bit? Good. Can you keep your spine nice and straight as you hinge forward a bit from the hips? And then come back up. So you're gently pressing your right hand into your right knee. You're hinging forward, keeping your back nice and straight. So in other words, you're not rounding through your back. You're not bringing your nose down toward your knee. You're just kind of coming forward a little bit. And there should be a bit of sensation in the outside of that right hip. Is that a fair assessment for most? Nobody's feeling it? Some people are feeling it. Okay. All right. If you're not feeling it, go farther forward. Go as far forward as you can until you feel a little something in there. How's that? Yes, there we go. Yeah, some people need more. Some people need less. So again, this is kind of the cool thing about anatomy, is that we're all put together a little bit differently. So some people, this is plenty of a stretch for the outside of my hip, and other people are like, this isn't even close. I need to go much farther into this. It's partly the way your hip is arranged. It's partly the way your muscles are. Okay. And then coming back up. We're going to lift that knee up. Take the ankle off the other knee. put the foot on the floor, pause for a moment. Maybe you just close your eyes for a moment and notice. All right, and then we're going to take that left ankle, cross it on top of the right knee. Same thing on this side. If ankle on knee doesn't work, ankle on ankle is just fine. So let's check in first with the posture in the back. So if by crossing the leg here, and this is often the case that one side it's easier than the other, so then when I cross this side, this is what I do with my back. I'm just going to lift up that leg. I'm going to get my back in that nice upright position, use my belly muscles a little bit, and then let go of the leg. Now this might be enough. Just the weight of my leg might be enough for me, but if it's not, I'm going to take the left hand here and press down on the inside of that knee, and then relax. And press down. So we're using the left hand to press down on the inside of the knee, and then relax. And breathe, you guys, as you're doing this. So that's the most important part, is to make sure your breath doesn't stop or doesn't get jagged. I just keep thinking like breath should be smooth and round, not kind of zigzaggy and jagged. So a couple more of these, just kind of pushing down. So we're just noticing. Now some people are going to feel this around the knee area. Some people are going to feel it in the leg. Some people feel it in the hip, maybe even into the lower leg. The next time that you're pushing down on that knee, I'm going to ask you to hold here. And if you'd like a little bit more of a stretch in through the outside of this hip and through the back, you're going to come forward like you're trying to bring your belly down onto your thigh and then come back up. And just keep moving forward and back. So it's a really gentle movement. It's like a little bit of a rocking movement, but it's not a fast rock, it's a slow rock. And this side may be different than the other side. Right? Anybody noticing that there's a difference in how far forward you can come on one side than the other? And no, I can notice that difference. And some of it has to do with how our bones are put together. Some of it has to do with our muscles. And some of it has to do with if we have some extra hardware in there, right? So we've had a hip replacement or a knee replacement. That's going to change how far forward you come. Next time you come forward, hold here. Let's just hold for a breath or two. Notice what you feel. And then slowly come all the way up. Excellent. Let's lift that knee up and take that leg off. Put the foot on the floor. Have your hands on your thighs. Take a moment. Just feel right side, left side. If it feels comfortable, take your hands back there and give your hips, your buttocks, your low back a little bit of a massage. So if anybody has had low back issues, especially something, or has had sciatica. Do you all know what sciatica is, right? Yeah. At a certain age, isn't it funny the words that we have to know, right? That's one of those words. So everybody knows sciatica. It's that pain that shoots down your leg. Sometimes it's in your back, and sometimes it's here, right here, in the side of your butt cheek. And when it's here in the side of your butt cheek and in your back, this is a great stretch to do. What we're stretching when we've got the leg crossed like this, don't fall off the chair. When we've got the leg crossed like this, when we come forward, we're stretching a little group of muscles in here called your lateral rotators. Anybody know what their lateral rotators are? No, they're the muscles that make you do this with your leg. They laterally rotate your leg. So the lateral rotators is a group of 6 muscles right in the middle of your butt cheek. And right in between all those beautiful lateral rotators is your sciatic nerve. So if everything's moving smoothly and freely, your sciatic nerve is grooving with your muscles, everybody's happy. If those muscles get tight, they squeeze that sciatic nerve, and guess what? Shooting pain. So that's a good way to figure out, is it my piriformis or is it my lateral rotators? Piriformis, anybody heard that word before? No, that's usually the muscle that gets blamed in that 6, but they're a gang of 6, let me just say that. So they work together. So if you do this movement and you come forward and you're like, youch, I can really feel that, like right in the middle of my butt cheek, chances are your lateral rotators are a little bit tight. And you know how they get tight? Sitting. Yeah. Sitting. So Get up and move around a little bit more. That'll be helpful too. All right, that's our anatomy part of the program for today. So you learned about your lateral rotators. There'll be a test next week. Remember, your piriformis is the guy that gets blamed all the time, but it's not necessarily the only culprit in sciatic syndrome. Okay, so make yourself comfortable. I'm going to do a little bit of a meditation here on the body. So you can sit back into the back of your chair if you want. You can relax your hands, relax your legs, relax your jaw. Close your eyes. If you've had your shoes off and your feet are cold and you want to put your shoes on, you can go ahead and do that too. So once you have your body relaxed and your eyes closed, just sort of do a little examination from inside your body. Imagine you're floating around inside your body and you can see everything from the inside out. So you might start like in your head. So it's like you're this little being, this little tiny you is inside of you. You're in your head and you're looking down and you can see your sinuses, you can see your throat, you can see your tongue, you can see your teeth. And then imagine you're kind of traveling down your throat. You're sliding down the slide of your throat and you're seeing as you slide by, you're seeing on the left side and the right side these two little tunnels, one that goes to the right lung, one that goes to the left lung. And you slide down, you land in your stomach. And your stomach isn't the part of your body from your ribs to your pubis. Your stomach is actually an organ, right? So you're kind of sitting in the stomach organ. And then you're magically outside the stomach organ and you're inside your abdomen and you can see everything there. You can see your kidneys and your spleen, your liver. You can see your heart if you kind of turn around and look up. You can see your heart. It's nestled underneath that left lung. And if you look really closely, you can see that your right lung has 3 lobes and your left lung has 2. And your heart is taking up the space where that 3rd lobe might have been if you didn't have a heart. And then you look around a little bit more and you can see your gallbladder tucked up under your liver and you can see your appendix over there on the right side of your body. You can see your colon. You can see your intestines. And then imagine you're sitting in the middle of your body and all that's around you is just space. So it's like your organs have dissolved. And as you breathe in and out, you're watching the space around you expand and contract. So the only thing that's containing you right now is your skin. So you're inside your body and the organs and the muscles and everything have sort of dissolved a little bit and all you're seeing is the skin and maybe that superficial layer of muscles. So as you breathe in and out, you're seeing this expansion and contraction and it almost feels like you're sitting inside of a balloon. Feel how easily that balloon expands and contracts with every breath in and out. And feel yourself floating in that space. And you're totally comfortable here. You're floating in that space. You're watching your body expand and contract. And as you're floating inside the space of your body and you're watching the expansion and contraction, see if you can hear your heartbeat. See if you can hear that little sound. It might be a distant sound of your heartbeat. And perhaps you notice that your heartbeat and your breathing are dancing together. And the beat of your heart and the rhythm of your breath are in a dance. And again, maybe you hear it, maybe you see it, maybe you just sense it. So we're all a little different. Some of us are a little more visual. By sitting in the inside of the body, watching the expansion and contraction, it might be a lot easier to feel that dance, that rhythm of the heart and the breathing. For others, just hearing the heartbeat might be a better way to get that experience of the dance of the heart and the breath. And as I said earlier, the heart is nestled in the lungs. It's a little bit more to the left of your chest than to the right, and it takes up a little piece of the left lung. So the left lung just has 2 lobes where the right has 3, because it makes room for the heart. The heart and lungs are best friends. They work together throughout your whole life. Your breath provides oxygen and takes away carbon dioxide from the blood that your heart pumps. And your heart pumps the blood to the lungs so it can make that exchange. That's the dance. Breathing in and breathing out is what creates that dance between your heart and your lungs. Breathing in and breathing out is a movement that you do every day, every moment of every day. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to go to the gym. Your body just does it naturally. Breathing in, breathing out. The lungs feed the heart, and the heart feeds the lungs. Breathing in and breathing out, the body expands and the body contracts. Breathing in and breathing out, your nervous system calms and relaxes. That makes the heartbeat easier. That makes the breathing easier. Breathing in, breathing out. Take a nice full deep breath in and let it out with a sigh. Going back to your natural breath. Take your hands together and just take a moment in appreciation of this relationship between your heart and your lungs, between your blood and the air. And then if you'd like, you can just kind of open your eyes and maybe just notice these other wonderful breathing, heart-beating folks in the room. All doing the same thing, all having the same dance. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you all next week. You're welcome.